Okay, let's get started. Welcome to the Global Logistics and Maritime Management webinar tonight. We're going to be talking about global logistics and maritime management, and I will be your host. My name is Justine Gayson, and along with myself, we have Peggy Chen, who will be the academic representing the Australian Maritime College, and she will be doing most of the talking. And then we also have Ellen Gibson, who'll be managing our chat, and Tanya Clark, who will also be here, is here representing international. So before we start, I would like to acknowledge the Pakana and Palawa people of Lutruwita, the traditional owners of the land upon which we live and work. We pay respects to elders past and present as the knowledge holders and sharers. We honour their strong culture and knowledge as vital to the self-determination, well-being and resilience of their communities. We stand for a future that profoundly respects and acknowledges Aboriginal perspectives, culture, language and history. So as I mentioned, we do have Ellen monitoring the chat tonight. So if you have questions, please feel free to use the Q&A section in the menu bar. You can pop your questions in, and then we'll also have an opportunity at the end for further questions. So just so we don't run out of time, if you do have a question, pop it into the chat, and then we'll address any that are still there at the end of the session. So today we are talking about logistics, but we are also talking about not only the Australian Maritime College, but the University of Tasmania, and why would you want to study with us? So one of the reasons that students like to study at the AMC and also at the University of Tasmania is that we have really happy students. So our student satisfaction is higher compared to the satisfaction of teaching quality and engagement compared to students at other universities. So our students are quite happy and enjoying their programs. We also have very strong graduate outcomes. So for our student graduates, 82% will find full-time employment for their undergraduate degrees and 96% for postgraduate. So not all students will go on to work, some will go on to further study, but it does give you a really strong indication as to how strong our employment outcomes are from this university. We are also very passionate about supporting our students through their course with us, or courses, depending on how many they do. And if you need help along the way, there are people there to support you. So whether that's academic help with your course, career guidance towards the end of your course when you're looking at applying for roles within your profession, or you need some counselling along the way, or student advice from a range of experts that work at the university. There are a number of people that can help you. We are also #1 in the world for climate action. So that is something that we are extremely proud of. And it was just announced today that that's for the 4th year in a row. So you can become part of our climate action groups. You can undertake sustainability majors with us, and you can get involved from day one. So I'm going to hand over to Peggy Chen, Associate Professor and Director for the Centre of Maritime and Logistics Management at the AMC at the University of Tasmania. So Peggy, over to you.
Thanks, Justine. Hello, everyone. Good evening. So I have been at AMC for 20 years this year, so really enjoy the academic activity here. So that's my pleasure to present you what logistics is. I think many of you may often hear about logistics supply chain, but I'm not quite sure from your perspective what exactly it is. So maybe start thinking about the wording logistics. Actually, it's in our daily life. So maybe next slide. So if you look at this diagram, you will see, okay, I know all of us like online shopping. So if you put your order online for the beautiful dress, clothes, do you know where are they from? And how does everything, all these, parcels come to you? So this is really maybe the beginning of thinking about logistics. So you will see it may come from ships, it may come from air, it depending what products you buy. So you may think about, oh, everything comes from air, Not really. You can't ship a car or ship a washing machine by air. It's very expensive or very heavy. So if you look at this, this slide, you could see, yes, maybe by transport and then come to the warehouse, arrive at Australia, going to the warehouse, and then depart all the containers and then come to the distribution center. And at the end, the last mile come to at your store, at your doorstep. So this is really the very simple way to look at the logistics. So from the procurement and to the transportation, and then to the the distribution, warehousing, and to your door. So if we define logistics, it's very simple. How could we really manage the all the flow of goods between the point of origin to the point of consumption? But it's not enough because we need to make sure that customers, they are happy with your delivery or your product. So we need some workforce to manage all these process efficiently and effectively. So I think this is a very simple definition of logistics. Then how important of logistic industry in our economy? So the data you could see globally, it accounts for 12% of the gross domestic product. I mean, the GDP, we normally use that to measure the national economics. And in Australia, actually, it accounts maybe around 9%. And in the recent report also show actually the market in Australian freight and logistics was 99 billion. And that's why, and also expect to grow future to 122 billion. So you could see this is a massive industry that has potential opportunity for you, and if you want to get into that. And as I mentioned, since COVID or before COVID, the e-commerce already emerged. And e-commerce even is a game changer to drive the growth of the industry, the logistics industry. And the implication of that is that we need special expertise in this area and in the logistics and also the supply chain management. So this is probably the overall. But many of you may often go online shopping and you get a lot of parcel, but logistics is not only parcels. It's not only air transport. So if you look at all this image here, you can't carry a car in the airplane. Yeah, maybe, but how much cost does it really you need to pay? And also, the large steel structure, you can't really do that by air. So what happened? How could we deal with those different, commodity and products? So maybe next slide, I will show you maritime transport. So ships is really big. So you can, especially now the containerized shipping, you could put everything in the container. And so all your online shopping, no matter it's clothes or the electronic device or TV, washing machine, actually they all carry by sea. So think about this question. What is the percentage of water carried by sea? I don't know. I always ask students, someone say, oh, 100% or 90%. Maybe you could put your answer in the chat. 2 seconds, 3 seconds. Yeah, I think it's around maybe 85 to 90% in terms of volume. And some reports say 90%, say 85. So what does that mean? If there's no shipping, no maritime transport, we won't have any shopping. So that's very critical. You see, during the COVID, we could not get a lot of stuff from the store. And that's because all the COVID impact on maritime shipping and even the air transport. So that's very critical. So shipping, actually maritime transport, underpin all the international trade. And that is very critical on the maritime logistics management. And this is really what I want to mention today about the area of study of the global logistics and maritime management. So because it could provide you all the expertise in this area. So next slide, I will talk about some generic concept. What will be transported by sea. For example, if you look at a wind turbine on the up corner, Australia is developing a lot of onshore wind energy, and that's really the net zero target. So you will see how do you manage the freight of the turbine, and that's a logistics, and that's a project cargo. So really, if you are in this area, you see managed by sea. So how do you manage that? So if you look at container, you're probably more familiar with that. But if you look at wood chips, we are also the big exporting country of wood chip. So that's a paper to make paper. And yeah, you probably never think about how do we manage these logistics, and they have to carry by sea. The other like iron ore, we are also iron ore or coal, exporting country, and that's also managed by sea. And also the gas, we also export a lot of natural gas to a lot of Asian countries, and that's also carried by different type of ships. And that's why you could see so different cargoes that are carried by ships, different types of ships. But yeah, you are not a mariner to drive the ship, but we are the coordinator how to manage the project to make all the products can be delivered and then to the customer's hand. So this is the maritime transport. So next slide, please. So, but I don't know if Australia is a very big island, but if we want to export goods or import goods, so which shipping route we need to take? So this diagram also show you all the major shipping trade routes between Australia to Asia, even to Africa or to USA and Europe. So you see, this is really the major trade route. And if you look at all the red, circle, if anything happened there, such as now currently we have war in the Middle East, and that will disrupt all the shipping. And that's also, it's important for us to understand, yes, how do we manage that disruption? And so this is important to understand all the shipping trade routes, in our international trade. Yeah, next slide, please. And not only the shipping route, but you also need to think about, logistics consider other transport mode, like a road transport, rail transport. And this is really showing that the left-hand side, Europe, they have a very nice, rail network. But if you look at the right-hand side, it's our Australian freight flow map. You will see we have coastal shipping, the light green one, but not much. And you could see the red one is the rail, and the blue one is all the road. So that's the major freight transport route in Australia. So you could see we have a very interesting truck, and it can carry even the livestock. And we also have a rail to carry the container. But I think in Australia, a truck is still the most utilized transport mode to carry the products. Next slide, please. And if you look at the air, that's amazing. Image the picture here. You see, it's so busy in the air. And recently, if you watch news yesterday, you will see now above the Iran, the Middle East is totally clean, and because of the war. So you will see this is also very important to see any challenge also will affect all the multiple transport. And you need to think about, okay, if that happen, what's the alternative option you could do? And that is when we manage freight, we need to think about that. So this is the air route. So after understanding all the global logistics concept and also the transport mode and the shipping route, so next maybe give you a small test. And I don't know if you have heard about container, and normally we use TEU too. TEU is a 20-foot equivalent unit. So in a 20 feet long, 8 feet wide, and 8.6 feet high, how many pairs of standard size shoes packed in box can be fit into that container? You can have a guess. Although I don't have price for you, but maybe just so you can provide some price for them. So just have a guess, how many pair of shoes you can put in, your favorite Nike shoes or something? Yeah, it's quite interesting to to have a guess. All right. So I may give you the answer. I don't know how many say 1,000, 3,000, but the answer is 5,000 around. So you say, wow, you could put so many shoes in a container. And that's why how many containers can be in a ship. Now the biggest container ship could accommodate like 24,000 this kind of container. And that's why it's a whole container ship with all the Nike shoes. You say how many of them can be carried on. So that is probably some interesting quiz for you. The next quiz, maybe that you could think about Australia. Australia, actually, as I mentioned earlier, we have a different transport mode. So you will see your rail, road, or coastal shipping and air. So what do you think? Which transport mode do you think move the most freight in terms of ton per kilometer? I think many students, when I ask, they always say, "Oh, should be road because we have used a lot of truck." But you may think about how many tons the truck can carry. So actually, it's a rail. We have a quite good rail network, especially for mining, and also mining is very heavy, all the minerals. So rail is actually the answer for that. All right. So the final question for you is, Australia export a lot of commodities. So which one has the highest dollar value in Australia export products? Agriculture, wine, or iron ore, or pharmaceuticals? The answer is iron ore. Yeah, so because that's really you see the commodity price up and down all the way, but actually iron ore is we are the number one country exporting iron ore, and that value is very very good because it's for the steel making. We need steel for a lot of product or structure. So this is iron ore. So this will give you some idea about what we export and what's the important value. Then now come to my point here. Then what activities are undertaken by people working in global logistics industry? So the next slide I will show you. As I mentioned, yes, logistics, a lot of people will do like a truck driver. That's also logistics activity, or maybe as a mariner driving the ships. But for us in the management area, actually logistics professional is to plan, organize, and manage the shipping, transportation of goods around the globe. So you will see, as I mentioned earlier, you need to really consider a lot of different scenarios, even any disruption, then you need to plan and also maybe change. And also you should be equipped as the expertise or the skill to forecast what happened about the demand. Because all the economy is upside down, let me change the demand. So you need to also have a capability to forecast that and manage all no matter you are doing the procurement or you do the inventory management or you are doing the budgeting, or you need to engage with different stakeholders along the logistics or supply chain. Then that's all the jobs that we can do. And you manage a project, as I mentioned, it could be the offshore wind turbine project, or maybe a shipbuilding project, or it may be the retailer, they may have a lot of goods you need to buy and different type of project. So really, I think that the knowledge and skill you need to learn as a logistics professional is really that you need to know all the international trade, and also you need to be able to liaise with different stakeholders. And also you need to have a wider knowledge in law, technology, regulation, and also the business sense. And all this underpin your decision making and to make the logistics efficiently. So at the end, in summary, logistics professional is the integrators of international trade for efficient supply chains. So this is really what logistics professionals are doing. Next slide, please. So what can AMC or UTAS can offer to you and to really learn those skills and knowledge? We offer 3 major courses. One is a Bachelor of Global Logistics and Maritime Management. an MBA in Maritime Management, and Master Global Logistics and Supply Chain Management. In the undergraduate, next slide, the undergraduate, actually, we have, I have to mention AMC first. So I have to mention AMC because we are the only one maritime institute in Australia. And actually, AMC also is the only one offer the undergraduate course with maritime management and logistics together. Other universities may only offer logistics as a major under the Bachelor of Business, but we really focus on the maritime and logistics, both parts in one under degree. That's the difference between us and others in mainland. And I want to mention is that we are the founders, one of the 7 members founding the International Association of Maritime University. So currently there are 70 members globally. And actually we have been assessed by that organization. We are #1 teaching in maritime course. And our staff are very professional, experienced. They have been working in the shipping industry or logistics industry. So they are very good in this the concept and also the knowledge. And we have a very strong industry link. And also for our course, especially MLM, we later on I will mention, we actually offer flexible study mode for students. And we have a very strong alumni across Australia and also across globe. So really, study with us can link to the different part of the world and also the industry and also other alumni. So next slide, please. So I just quickly look at our course. Under the Bachelor is a 3-year study. We have 2 intakes a year, February or July. You could study by on campus. If you are domestic students, you can study on campus or by distance. It's up to your choice. The ATA is 65 for Bachelor, but you could also, I think we also accept the school recommendation program like in Tasmania. And we also offer diploma and associate degree nested. So you could enter diploma if you don't want to go to a bachelor straightforward, but you can step by step and then end up the bachelor. It's a nested, so all your study in diploma will be credit carry over to the next level. Yeah, and we have a domestic scholarship, outstanding achiever, excellent achiever. And also we have some industry scholarship like ANA or the Australian National Line Scholarship, and also the Ben Line Agency Scholarship for the domestic student. For international student, we have some partnership with different university like a Singapore Maritime Academy, Bimaru University Scholarship, and also in Taiwan, the Fengjia University Scholarship. That's a 2+2 pathway. But of course, UTAS offer the Tasmania International Scholarship. And that's really for the student, you meet the criteria, then you could get that 25% off. Our partnership scholarship is all 20%, yeah, at this moment. So what will you study in the bachelor? The major is A core, is in the maritime space, like showing you here, like you need to know the exporting, importing, and maritime industry, maritime law, maritime economics, and seaport, etc. And students can choose the major, which is logistics and supply chain. So that's in the next slide. Next slide, you could see all the units related to logistics and supply chain management. So as I mentioned earlier, in all the transport system, all the air freight, warehousing, procurement, freight management, supply chain. And at the final year, you need to do a small research project. And other 8 units is electives. So you could, for example, you can choose business schools, business-related subjects as elective, or other school you prefer to enroll some subjects you like to do. So that's the structure of the course. A core, A from this major, and the other 8 is electives. But you could choose other major from other school then to make up a double major. So that's the choice. But anyway, we can, if you have any question, you could ask later. So the following slides about how we engage with the industry. Our courses are certified by the Chartered Institute of Logistics and Transport Australia. And we also have, if you finish our bachelor, if you want to get a professional qualification from the Institute of Chartership Broker, that's a UK-based global the association, and you could get 3 credit towards their qualification. We also have the USA, the International Association Maritime and Port Executives, the certified, so you could get qualification after you finish our course as well. And we have a lot of, as I mentioned, industry scholarship and prize, and this is the list here. And we recently have some internship with the DSV, the global Danish company. It's a logistics company. They offer our student one internship in loan system. That's the probably maybe the 8 months, 2 days a week. And we also have other, like New Colombo plan. That's for domestic students to the Port Tanjung Palapas internship. This year, this second cohort will go. Yeah. And we always have the industry experience, field trips, and also the industry guest lecture across all the semesters. So this is, we are very strongly engaged with the industry. Yeah. Okay, next, please. And this is just some experience. AMC very special event is a Career Expo. And we have a lot of industry camp on that day in March. So you could have an opportunity to engage with industry and all their managers and to explore your career opportunities. So that's a really very popular event each year in March. And students sometimes get job when they attend that Career Expo. Yeah. And that's and our class size is not very big, like hundreds. We just really the medium size. So everyone knows students. We know you if you don't attend the class. So this is really it's a good way, mutual way for interaction. So that's the very good learning experience here. Yeah. Next, please. So I think you're probably more interested in career outcomes. So I just based on our graduates and they currently are working, I just summarize all this. So the position they work currently, it could be that in the maritime industry is a ship operations and container logistics executive. And sometimes they also work for the supply chain, area supply chain manager. This is really our graduate from postgraduate, and she worked in Canada for Amazon, and she already go into that really high level of that. And we also students working for the Queensland Department government, agency for the procurement as well. And we also have an exporting operator. Also, I mentioned, DSV Logistics is a freight forwarding company. And we also have few graduates working in that company as well. And like the image here, I think the first one is she's working for Swire Bock as a charterer. So they manage ships to ship all the commodities, especially bulk, like iron ore or coal, this kind of commodity. So she's working in Sydney and she really enjoyed the work. And the lady down there is our postgraduate student. She's working in Queensland Patrick Terminal. And that's why you see a lot of autonomous there, but she is managing all these freight, and she's really good, our MBA students as well. We also have students working for Woolworths. There are other subsidiary, managing all the technology side, so more the digitalization of the logistics and supply chain. So you will see you could work in a different, very wider industry, in terms of different role. So it could be the freight forwarding, government, shipping agency, exporting, importing, retailer, etc. So the next, I will show you some interesting, if you go to the job market and you just type logistics, you could see you will come up a lot of jobs, like 17,000 jobs. So really, you could see the very wide, career opportunities there. Although the salary sometimes it varies, sometimes it's 60,000 or 90,000. But if the next slide, you can see if you type supply chain, that's also related area you can find a job. And you got 7,000 jobs there. And because we are also in the maritime, so you can type the next slide. You can type, okay, shipping. So you will come out, okay, the shipping manager, lead supply chain operational, or international transport specialist, and so they call the Sydney Olympic Park, So this is also some kind of, the shipping side of thing. Or you want to work in the port, like, Tasmania, you have Tasport. In mainland, you have the, Melbourne port, Sydney port. Or you are international, you have different ports. You could type port, and also a lot of job opportunity come out. And I think in our freight logistics, freight forwarding is also a very, very demanding market. So you will see a lot of international freight forwarding also very demand students to do the freight management and also coordination work. So you will see a lot of job also coming from there. But this is just some examples for your career. There are more than that. It just really we always receive the industry the inquiry about our graduate. So this is really quite demanding market. For our domestic students, I can say that they all 100% job when they finish it. But for international, if you go back your industry, but if you stay in Australia, that's really how you really find a job. But I think we know this industry is demanding. And that's why even our international students, if they stay for a 2-year graduate visa, they still can find a job to do to enrich their experience. So no matter if they turn, they go home, they also can continue that career. Yeah. So next slide. Probably I finished.
I've gone too far. Thank you so much, Peggy. That was so informative. We've all learnt so much. And I can say from my experience with students from the Australian Maritime College, most of them have jobs before they've even finished their degrees. They're just waiting to finish so they can start their career. So thank you very much. I'm going to hand over to Tanya Clark now to talk about the information that's presented for international students. So thanks, Tanya.
No problem. Thank you so much, Peggy. That was really interesting and some great questions. And I think we did get a couple of correct answers in the Q&A. So yeah, we do have some prospective shipping ports operations managers, etc., who are looking forward to coming in. So just a little bit of information for international students who want to submit an application. You can do this through our utas.edu.au /study/apply website, and there's some instructions in there for international students. For some countries, we will require you to nominate an agent. You can still start your application, but we will send you an email and ask you to nominate an agent before we progress your application. And if you want to find an agent in your home country, you can do so by going to utas.edu.au /world. So that's just UTAS World. And you can find a list of our agents there. If you want to know a bit more about the fees, so fees for international students are a little bit different. So you will need to go to our homepage, which is utas.edu.au, and have a look at the course information. Usually at the top, there's two little tabs. One of them says domestic, the other says international. If you click on the international tab, you'll be able to scroll down and have a look at the international fees. Peggy did talk about some of the scholarships that are available for AMC students, but she also mentioned the Tasmania International Scholarships, which is a 25% fee waiver, and that's applied to each year of study. You don't need to submit a separate application for that scholarship. You just need to submit an application for the course, and you will be considered for that scholarship. It is a merit-based scholarship, so you will need to achieve a good, at least a B+ average in your previous qualification to be eligible for that. But there is a bit more information about our scholarships there as well. We also are offering a scholarship called the Early Acceptance Scholarship, and as the name suggests, it is for people who are really keen and know when they want to apply, know when they want to accept, and they do so by the deadline. online, we'll give you we'll give you a 15% scholarship. That can also be applied in addition to the Tasmanian International Scholarship, which is valued at 35%. So yeah, so lots of great scholarship opportunities there. Again, you don't need to apply separately for those scholarships. So yeah, over to you, Justine.
Thank you, Tanya. That was great. Lots of information there. I am going to talk about the cost for domestic students. So when you study with us and you're an Australian citizen or permanent resident, degrees are priced by unit. So each subject that you undertake has a cost associated with it. The costs are listed online in the course and unit handbook, and there are normally 2 fees associated with every unit that you study or every subject that you study. One is the Commonwealth, the HECS fee or the HECS help fee, and the other is the Student Services and Amenities fee or SAF. We love our acronyms at the university. So if you come into an undergraduate program, something like the bachelor degree that Peggy was talking about, as an Australian domestic student, you can defer all your fees. So you can put them on hold until you finished your degree or until you're earning over $54,000 a year. That's the amount this year. We also offer programs with our undergraduate certificates where you may receive free scholarships to study those courses, and then they will often lead into the bachelor degree programs as well. So basically you can start your course, walk into your classroom and defer your fees until you've completed your studies. You can apply online. So the web address is there, utas.edu.au/apply. And you apply through our application portal. You'll need to provide information about your previous work or study experience. You may also be required to give us a little bit of information about why you want to come to university, depending on your background. If you're coming straight out of year 12, you can apply under our early offer scheme, which opens next week on the 26th of June, and that's called the School Recommendation Program. So you can apply for up to 5 courses under that program and then receive an early offer in September if you apply in round 1. If you are an adult learner or someone who is applying after having completed high school a while ago, then you'll receive your offer normally in a couple of weeks after you apply. It does depend on whether or not we require more information. So you'll receive your you'll receive your offer, and then you're able to accept that. And then once enrolment opens a bit later in the year, if you're applying for semester 1, you'll be able to enroll in your units. If you're applying for semester 2, you'll be able to enroll straight away. So after you accept your offer, you'll have access to all our systems, and we will send you an email with your credentials, your UTAS login credentials, so that you can go ahead and enroll in your course. There's lots of help along the way as well. So we don't just welcome you to university and then say, oh, yes, off you go, we'll see you at graduation. There are a number of supports available that can guide you through your study and assist you as you study with us. And they range from academic support, where you may meet with a student advisor to help you plan your degree. If you're studying part-time, that's a really good way to make sure that you progress through your degree in the time that you want to. There are learning advisors and academic coaches, lots of study resources, both online and available in person. We have peer-assisted study sessions, which are available in some of our courses, where you receive assistance from people that are studying that course. And then there's also 24/7 help through Milo, which is our online teaching platform through Studiosity. There is information and support that will help you if you need to work while you study, or to prepare you for when you go out and start your professional career. So lots of assistance around mock job interviews, preparing your resume and addressing selection criteria, connecting you with mentors and professional associations like Peggy mentioned, actually meeting with industry leaders and connecting you so that you have those increased job prospects. You can also register for volunteering opportunities as well. So there is lots of supports there. If you also require counselling or you have some well-being issues that you need support with, we offer counselling as well. It's all free. It's available face-to-face, online, via email, over the phone. They can help with academic, mental health, and personal concerns. There is also accessibility support, which can support you if you need special consideration or if you need mechanisms that need to be put in place for you for exams, for example. Lots of accessibility support through a learning access plan. So we've come to that point in the webinar where we get to ask lots of questions and answer the questions that we haven't been able to answer as we've moved forward. So I am going to see if I can actually see the chat. It looks like
Ellen and I have actually been whizzing through them. So
fantastic. Thank you, Tanya. I can see they've all been answered.
Right.
I will give you the opportunity, though, to pop any further questions in that you might have for Peggy. And then Peggy will be able to answer those questions in person. So we'll give you a couple of minutes to type away frantically if you do have a question that hasn't been answered.
I guess there is one, I think Tanya already replied from Papua New Guinea. I
Oh,
think
yes.
if he, I think if he has got the Bachelor of Business Management and he wants to apply for Bachelor, but I would suggest he may consider postgraduate. I mean, if you already have Bachelor, then you could go to our MBA in Maritime Management if you are interested in the maritime. Or if you want to do Master, is a Global Logistics and Supply Chain Management. So there's two options for you to consider. And because you already have a business degree. Yeah.
That's really good advice, Peggy. So if you
Yeah.
do have a bachelor degree, it is worthwhile considering applying for a postgraduate program, and then admissions will assess you for postgraduate entry and determine if you're eligible for that postgraduate program rather than a bachelor degree program. So we would always encourage you to aim for that higher dream, and then if there are other programs that you need to do to get to that admissions, we'll let you know. We don't seem to have any more questions at the moment. We still do have quite a lot of people logged in, so I will just give you a little bit more of a chance to type your questions. It looks like Tanya and Ellen have done such a fantastic job.
there was one question that I guess if we do have time, there was Enoch from Kenya.
From Kenya?
Yeah, he just asked if he was, he's got a diploma in nautical sciences and was interested in the maritime management and logistics. I assume he means the bachelor degree. Is his background suitable for the course?
I think if there's a nautical science, the background is suitable. It just depends on, I mean, I think you mentioned his previous study, the diploma, and so what's the level of the study. So we can see, and I don't know if he has any sea experience, because some of the USC experience also, has been seafarer for several years or something, that all can be considered. So we can assess that. And it's going to the bachelor or going to the graduate certificate, etc., in the maritime management. But for bachelor, I think it's a suitable. That's from my view, because nautical science, we always have a seafaring student transfer to our course, and that's all the maritime, so still can be suitable. Yeah. But I'm not quite sure he is interested in postgraduate or undergraduate.
I'd say it would be undergraduate. I agree with Tanya.
Undergraduate,
It would be the bachelor degree.
Yeah.
We have had another question come in, Peggy, and it's about the type of salary that a student would expect to receive, and is it a good salary?
I think it, as I mentioned, if you look at the SIG, that website, actually in the different area, the salary may be different, and also depending on your role. But I guess our students, when they finish in Australia, I think at least probably similar to the business degree at the level, base level. But if you go to the more logistics side, it could be maybe a little bit higher than them.
Yeah.
From the last year, the survey, the graduate outcome survey, my memory is that the average, the income could be maybe like 80,000 above. Yeah, that's my understanding. Yeah.
I think that my understanding of that same survey is that students that go into that area that graduate from this university do earn higher salaries compared to graduates from other universities. So I do think that students that study with the University of Tasmania, particularly moving into jobs afterwards, do have very high prospects of a decent, strong salary base. Yeah. Okay, so I think that's it for questions. So I would just like to thank you, Peggy, for I don't know what's gone on with my that has just completely stopped. I'm not quite sure what's happened. We'll just go back there. I would like to thank you very much and advise students that you will receive a recording of this webinar. So thank you to Tanya and Ellen as well, who've been frantically answering our questions. And if you do have further questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to the university and to the Australian Maritime College. We are more than happy to follow up any questions you have that have come out of this webinar. And I'd love to thank you all for joining us tonight and enjoy the rest of your evening.